Long before the first dinosaur took its thunderous step, Earth was a battlefield of survival. The story of their rise doesn't begin with dinosaurs, it begins with their absence. Over 250 million years ago, during the Permian period, life on land was ruled by strange creatures, the synapsids, ancient ancestors of mammals. They were the kings of the Permian world, dominating the continents of Pangaea, a supercontinent stretching from pole to pole. The air was dry, the deserts vast, and the seas teemed with marine predators like Dimetrodon. But then, something catastrophic struck, a moment so violent it nearly ended all life on Earth. Around 252 million years ago, the Permian Triassic Extinction event, the Great Dying, erased almost 90% of marine life and 70% of land animals. Massive volcanic eruptions in Siberia released enormous amounts of carbon dioxide, poisoning the air and heating the planet. Acid rain fell, oceans turned stagnant, forests burned. The reign of the synapsids ended not with a roar but with silence, and from that silence rose opportunity. The world had been reset. The stage was cleared for a new kind of ruler, the dinosaurs. The first true dinosaurs appeared around 230 million years ago, during the late Triassic period. They weren't the towering giants we imagine. They were small, nimble, and mostly insignificant compared to the other creatures around them. The earliest dinosaurs, like Iraptor, Herrerasaurus, and Coelophysis, were bipedal hunters. Light on their feet and quick to adapt, they emerged in what is now South America. In a world filled with fierce rivals, crocodile-like phytosaurs, giant amphibians, and armored reptiles called etosaurs. So how did these small, fragile animals rise to become Earth's dominant life forms for over 160 million years? Their secret wasn't size, it was survival strategy. Dinosaurs possessed a unique set of evolutionary tools: upright posture. Their legs were directly under their bodies, allowing them to run efficiently and breathe while moving. Efficient lungs, they likely evolved bird-like air sacs that gave them superior oxygen use, a major advantage in the thin Triassic atmosphere. Warm-blooded metabolism, though debated, evidence suggests many dinosaurs had faster metabolisms than reptiles, allowing greater endurance. While their mammal-like rivals struggled in the changing post-extinction climate, dinosaurs thrived in the heat. They didn't just survive, they adapted, evolved, and diversified. During the late Triassic, the continents of Pangaea were still united, stretching across the equator. It was a harsh land of droughts and volcanic eruptions, but for the dinosaurs, it was a crucible of evolution. In this chaotic world, natural selection favored speed, agility, and endurance. The dinosaurs' upright stance allowed them to move faster and hunt more efficiently than their competitors. Predators like Herrerasaurus ruled the plains, while early herbivores like Plateosaurus grazed the fern-filled valleys. Though dinosaurs were still a minority compared to other reptiles, they were rising fast. Then fate intervened once more. At the end of the Triassic period, another mass extinction struck, one that wiped out most of the dinosaurs' competitors. Volcanic eruptions from the Central Atlantic magmatic province unleashed toxic gases and caused dramatic climate swings. Entire reptile families disappeared. The dinosaurs endured. When the dust settled, they were the last ones standing. The age of the dinosaurs had truly begun. As the Jurassic period dawned, around 201 million years ago, Earth transformed into a lush paradise. The supercontinent Pangaea began to split apart, forming new coastlines, humid jungles, and vast floodplains, perfect habitats for evolution to run wild. Now free from their rivals, the dinosaurs exploded in diversity. This was the age of the giants. The sauropods, massive long-necked herbivores like Brachiosaurus, Diplodocus, and Apatosaurus, rose to dominate the land. Their size was an evolutionary masterpiece. Towering necks allowed them to feed from the highest trees, and their sheer mass deterred most predators. Meanwhile, the theropods, the two-legged carnivores, evolved into apex hunters like Allosaurus. Agile, intelligent, and armed with razor-sharp teeth, they became masters of Jurassic ecosystems. And in the skies, another revolution was unfolding. The pterosaurs, close cousins of dinosaurs, learned to fly, turning the Jurassic skies into a prehistoric airshow of soaring reptiles. The Earth was now a world sculpted by dinosaurs. Every continent, every climate, every niche, they conquered all. Dinosaurs didn't just get lucky, they evolved biological advantages that made them almost unbeatable. Their lungs were more advanced than any other animal of their time. Air passed through a complex system of sacs, just like in modern birds. This allowed for continuous oxygen flow, which meant they could run faster and longer, perfect for both hunters and survivors. Dinosaurs laid eggs, allowing rapid reproduction. Some species grew incredibly fast, reaching adult size in just a few years. This explosive growth helped them recover quickly after environmental disasters. From the icy poles to tropical forests, dinosaurs lived everywhere. Fossils show they adapted to deserts, swamps, mountains, and even polar darkness. Though not all dinosaurs were smart, many, especially smaller theropods, showed advanced behavior. They hunted in packs, protected their young, and possibly even communicated with complex sounds. These traits weren't random, they were evolutionary. Weapons that allowed dinosaurs to outcompete everything else for over 150 million years. By the Cretaceous period, 145-66 million years ago, the world looked closer to what we know today. Continents drifted apart, flowers bloomed for the first time, and new ecosystems flourished. The dinosaurs continued their reign, now more specialized and magnificent than ever. In the forests of Asia and North America roamed the hadrosaurs, or duck-billed dinosaurs grazing in herds. The ceratopsians, like Triceratops, defended themselves with massive horns and frills. Meanwhile, predators reached their ultimate form, the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex. In the skies, pterosaurs grew enormous, with wingspans of over 30 feet. And from small feathered hunters, a new branch of life took flight. Birds, the living descendants of dinosaurs. The Dinosaur Empire had reached its zenith. From the shadows of extinction to the rulers of Earth, they were the undisputed masters of the planet. But fate once again had other plans. About 66 million years ago, a colossal asteroid 6 miles wide hurtled through space and slammed into what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The explosion was beyond imagination. Shock waves circled the globe. Tsunamis hundreds of feet tall swept across oceans, and debris blocked sunlight for years. The Cretaceous Paleogene extinction event wiped out nearly 75% of all species on Earth. The once thriving dinosaurs, unable to find food or warmth, vanished, except for a small group that would evolve into modern birds. The age of dinosaurs ended not with a slow decline, but with a sudden catastrophe, the same kind of event that had once cleared the path for them to rise. The circle of life had turned once more. Even in extinction, dinosaurs never truly disappeared. Their descendants, the birds, still soar in our skies, their hearts beating with the same rhythm as their thunderous ancestors. Their fossils shaped our understanding of evolution, resilience, and adaptation. Every discovery, from the feathers of Archaeopteryx to the bones of T-Rex, tells us one thing. The dinosaurs were not just beasts, they were survivors of the impossible. They ruled Earth not by chance, but through evolution's brilliance, speed, intelligence, endurance, and adaptability. The story of the dinosaurs isn't just about their rise or their fall, it's about life itself, how it endures, transforms, and begins again. In simple terms, dinosaurs became dominant because they evolved the perfect combination of traits for a changing world. They survived 2 massive extinction events. They adapted to every environment on Earth. They evolved diverse body types, from tiny hunters to giant herbivores. Their physiology, warm-blooded traits, strong lungs and efficient movement outperformed their rivals. When the world was unstable, they were stable. When others fell, they endured. And that endurance crowned them as the rulers of Earth for more than 160 million years. The rise of the dinosaurs is more than a prehistoric tale. It's a mirror of nature's greatest truth. Dominance comes not from strength alone, but from adaptability. They rose from extinction's ashes, conquered every corner of Earth, and evolved into creatures that still fly among us. From the scorched deserts of the Triassic to the lush jungles of the Cretaceous, their story reminds us of nature's greatest law. Life always finds a way. The dinosaurs may be gone, but their legacy echoes in every bird's wings, in every fossil beneath our feet, and in every heartbeat that endures against extinction. They were not just rulers of their time, they were the architects of Earth's greatest evolutionary tragedy, flourished in transformation and ended in fire. Yet their spirit never died. The terrible lizards that once thundered across the continents left behind more than bones. They left behind a blueprint of survival itself. The rise of the dinosaurs teaches us that even in the face of destruction, evolution finds a way forward. And perhaps that's why their story still captures our imagination, because in their rise, we see our own struggle for survival, and in their fall, we see the fragile beauty of life on Earth. In the twilight of the Permian period, over 252 million years ago, our planet was teetering on the edge of oblivion. The landmass of Pangaea, a single colossal supercontinent, stretched from pole to pole. A world of endless deserts, fierce winds, and dying seas. Yet within this harsh and ancient landscape, life had once thrived. Strange mammal-like reptiles known as synapsids dominated the continents. Creatures like Dimetrodon, with its iconic sail, and the lumbering Lystrosaurus, whose stubby tusks carved at dry roots in the cracked soil. They were the masters of a world that would soon turn hostile beyond imagination. For millions of years, Earth had been alive with strange vitality until the skies darkened. In a geological instant, the planet was transformed into a killing field. Massive volcanic eruptions in what is now Siberia poured rivers of molten rock across thousands of kilometers. The eruptions released trillions of tons of carbon dioxide and methane, suffocating the air and heating the climate beyond survival. Oceans turned acidic, forests ignited. The very soil became toxic. This was the Permian Triassic extinction, the deadliest event in Earth's history. Nearly 90% of marine life and 70% of land species vanished. It was the Great Dying, a global reset button. When the skies finally cleared, the Earth was quiet. For 5 million years, life clung on in scattered pockets, a world haunted by the ghosts of extinction. But amid the ruin, evolution began to rebuild. Small, quick-footed reptiles crept across the scorched plains. Amphibians returned to shrinking rivers. And from the edges of extinction emerged new survivors, leaner, faster, more adaptable. The reign of the ancient synapsids had ended. From their ashes, a new dynasty would rise, the archosaurs, a family of reptiles that would give birth to crocodiles, and dinosaurs. The stage of prehistory had been cleared, and the age of giants was waiting just beyond the horizon. In the humid forests of Triassic South America, around 230 million years ago, the Earth was alive again, fragile but fierce. The air shimmered with heat, and rain carved the red sands into winding gullies. Here among the fern thickets and primitive conifers walked the first dinosaurs. Small, quick and cautious, they were not the thunderous beasts we picture today. Hereafter, one of the earliest known dinosaurs, was no bigger than a dog. With long legs and grasping hands, it darted between shadows, an opportunistic hunter and scavenger. Herrerasaurus stalked the same plains, slender, fast and lethal. One of the first predators to walk fully upright on 2 legs. To most creatures of its age, these dinosaurs were little more than background players. The world was still dominated by crocodile-like reptiles, etosaurs with armor-plated backs, and giant amphibians lurking in the rivers. Yet silently, evolution was arming these small newcomers with tools that would one day rewrite the balance of power. They had erect limbs, held directly beneath their bodies, allowing them to run efficiently for long distances. Unlike the sprawled posture of their rivals, their hollow bones made them light and agile, and their respiratory systems may have already resembled those of modern birds, giving them unmatched endurance in a hot, oxygen-poor atmosphere. The Triassic world was unpredictable. Droughts, wildfires, floods, and volcanic chaos. But dinosaurs thrived in the extremes. When food was scarce, they could travel. When temperatures soared, they endured. They were not the strongest or the largest, but they were built to survive. Over millions of years, their numbers grew. New species emerged. Some evolved longer necks to browse on vegetation. Others developed claws and teeth suited for the chase. A silent revolution was underway, one that would turn prey into predator, and small hunters into rulers of continents. The dinosaurs were learning how to take over the world. The late Triassic period was a crucible, a world on the brink of constant disaster. Pangaea still stretched unbroken, its vast interior dominated by searing deserts and monsoon floods. Forests of cycads and ginkgos struggled against endless drought, while the volcanic fissures of the central Atlantic magmatic province rumbled beneath the surface, preparing to split the supercontinent apart. In this unstable world, the dinosaurs were forged by fire. Competition was fierce. Crocodile-like predators known as rauisuchians ruled the plains, towering up to 8 meters long. Early mammals scurried underground. In the rivers, armored phytosaurs snapped at anything that moved. Yet the dinosaurs endured. They were quick, coordinated, and relentless. The herbivorous Plateosaurus, one of the earliest large dinosaurs, grazed on towering ferns in herds, one of the first signs of complex social behavior. Predators like Calophysis hunted in packs, using speed and cooperation rather than brute force. But the real turning point came in catastrophe. Around 201 million years ago, another extinction struck, triggered by those same volcanic eruptions that began to tear Pangaea apart. Vast plumes of gas poisoned the atmosphere, and global temperatures soared. Many of the crocodile-line reptiles, once dominant, could not survive. The world's ecosystems collapsed once again. And in the smoldering silence that followed, dinosaurs stood alone, their physiology, fast-growing bones, efficient breathing, and warm-blooded traits gave them the resilience their competitors lacked. In the empty landscapes of the early Jurassic, dinosaurs exploded in diversity, filling every available niche: predators, grazers, scavengers, and giants. The Triassic takeover was complete. From humble beginnings, dinosaurs had seized the world through endurance, not conquest. They had survived fire, famine, and chaos, and in doing so, became the architects of the greatest age of life ever seen. With the dawn of the Jurassic period, the Earth awakened into a new world, a world of green abundance. The continents began to drift apart, forming rift valleys filled with rain and life. Volcanoes fertilized the soil, and the air was thick with humidity. Where once there had been desert, now jungles bloomed. The dinosaurs flourished. In this lush environment, they grew larger than anything before or since. The sauropods appeared, long-necked titans like Brachiosaurus and Diplodocus. They were walking skyscrapers, stretching 30 meters in length and weighing over 50 tons. Their secret lay in their biology: air-filled bones that made their enormous frames light enough to move, and hearts powerful enough to pump blood up those towering necks. These gentle giants reshaped the landscape itself. They trampled forests, opened paths, and spread vegetation through their dung, becoming the first true ecosystem engineers of the Mesozoic. But with giants came hunters. The theropods, swift two-legged carnivores, evolved into specialized predators. Allosaurus, with serrated teeth and lightning speed, ruled the plains. Smaller hunters like Ornitholestes relied on agility and intelligence. In the skies, another branch of evolution took flight, the pterosaurs. With wings of stretched skin and hollow bones, they soared over Jurassic coastlines, feeding on fish and insects, the first vertebrates to master powered flight. The Jurassic was Earth's golden age of dinosaurs, a time when life was both colossal and balanced. Predator and prey thrived in dynamic equilibrium. Forests stretched across the continents. Oceans teemed with marine reptiles like plesiosaurs and ichthyosaurs. For over 60 million years, this world endured. The dinosaurs were not just surviving, they were perfecting their rule. What made dinosaurs so successful? Why did they thrive when others perished? The answer lies deep within their anatomy, in the evolutionary marvels that gave them the edge. First, their posture. Unlike the sprawling limbs of reptiles, dinosaurs walked upright, with legs positioned directly under their bodies. This allowed efficient movement, greater endurance, and faster pursuit. Second, their respiration. Evidence from fossilized air sacs suggests a bird-like breathing system, a continuous flow of oxygen through the lungs. This gave them unmatched stamina, especially crucial in the hot, low-oxygen atmosphere of the Triassic and Jurassic. Third, their growth and metabolism. Bone structure reveals rapid growth rates more akin to birds and mammals than to reptiles. Some reached full size within a decade, an evolutionary superpower in a world where survival depended on speed. Fourth, reproduction. Dinosaurs laid eggs in colonies, suggesting parental care and nesting behavior. Fossilized nests like those of Myosaura reveal a social intelligence rare among reptiles. They protected their young, ensuring the continuation of the species. Finally, adaptability. Dinosaurs spread across every continent, from equatorial forests to polar regions. Some developed feathers for insulation. Others evolved horns, armor, or crests, not just for defense, but for display and communication. They were innovators of life itself, masters of oxygen, movement, and social complexity. And so by the time the Jurassic world matured into the Cretaceous, dinosaurs had become unstoppable. They had conquered land, sky, and climate. They were the undisputed rulers of the Earth, nature's most enduring empire. The Jurassic Age had sculpted a masterpiece: lush forests, endless plains, and a planet ruled by giants. But by the dawn of the Cretaceous period, around 145 million years ago, that masterpiece began to evolve into something even grander. The world itself was changing. The continents of Pangaea were splitting apart, drifting slowly toward the shapes we recognize today. This shifting geography created new coastlines, new climates, and new opportunities for evolution to thrive. For the dinosaurs, it was a time of expansion and specialization. In the northern lands of what is now North America and Asia, herbivores diversified into forms the world had never seen. The hadrosaurs, or duck-billed dinosaurs, developed intricate jaws with hundreds of teeth for grinding tough vegetation. They lived in massive herds, migrating with the seasons, the grazers of the Mesozoic savannas. Meanwhile, the ceratopsians, like Triceratops, evolved formidable horns and frills, not only weapons against predators, but also instruments of social display. Herds of these horned giants may have thundered across the Cretaceous plains, their calls echoing over fern-covered valleys. Predators rose to match them. Among them was the most iconic hunter Earth has ever known, Tyrannosaurus rex. With jaws strong enough to crush bone, binocular vision, and a sense of smell sharper than any mammal's, T-Rex reigned as the apex predator of its time. Yet even it was part of a much larger web of evolution. Across the southern continents, other giants stalked the land: Giganotosaurus in South America, Spinosaurus in Africa, towering beasts adapted to every environment on Earth. Above them, the skies were alive. The pterosaurs, descendants of Triassic flyers, had reached extraordinary size. Some, like Quetzalcoatlus, had wingspans over 10 meters wide, soaring reptiles that ruled the air for 150 million years before the first bird ever flapped its wings. And yes, birds. By the mid-Cretaceous, feathered theropods like Archaeopteryx and Microraptor had evolved true flight. The first birds were taking to the skies, chirping the early songs of modern life. Beneath them all, a quiet revolution was taking place, the rise of flowering plants. Bright blooms, pollinated by insects, spread across the continents, transforming ecosystems and feeding new generations of herbivores. The Cretaceous was the zenith of dinosaur evolution, a global empire of diversity, color, and complexity. From Arctic herds to desert hunters, from sea reptiles to sky dwellers, dinosaurs ruled every corner of the earth. But even empires built over 160 million years cannot last forever. 66 million years ago, on a calm day in what is now the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, a shadow appeared in the sky. It was small at first, just a distant glimmer brighter than the sun. Then, in a moment that would change the course of life on Earth, the shadow fell. A 6-mile-wide asteroid slammed into the planet with the force of billions of atomic bombs. In an instant, the crust vaporized. A shockwave ripped across continents. Firestorms ignited forests thousands of kilometers away. Within hours, tsunamis the height of skyscrapers rolled across ancient oceans. The Earth had been struck by extinction once again. The impact winter that followed was unlike anything life had ever endured. Dust and sulfur choked the skies, blocking sunlight for months, perhaps years. Photosynthesis stopped, plants withered, herbivores starved, and the predators that hunted them soon followed. Volcanic eruptions in India's Deccan Traps worsened the chaos, releasing more gas and acid into the atmosphere. Acid rain scorched the earth, temperatures plummeted, then soared again in the aftermath. The great Cretaceous Paleogene extinction had begun. When the skies finally cleared, 75% of all species were gone. The mighty Tyrannosaurus, the horned Triceratops, the duck-billed herds, all vanished. Only the smallest, most adaptable creatures endured. Mammals the size of mice, reptiles hiding in burrows, and the last feathered descendants of the dinosaurs are birds. For over 160 million years, the dinosaurs had ruled every ecosystem on Earth. But their reign ended not with decline, but with disaster, a single day of cosmic violence that reshaped life forever. And yet in that ending, something remarkable survived, the spark of evolution that would give rise to the world we know today. Extinction did not erase the dinosaur's story. It simply transformed it. In every modern bird, from the hummingbird to the eagle, beats the ancient heart of a dinosaur. The same air sacs that filled the lungs of Velociraptor now fuel the flight of sparrows. The same bones that stretched into the wings of Archaeopteryx still form the skeletons of swans and falcons. The avian dinosaurs, as scientists call them, carried their ancestors' legacy into the future. Their feathers, first used for warmth and display, became instruments of flight. Their brains expanded. Their beaks replaced teeth. They adapted, as their ancestors always had. And though the non-avian dinosaurs were gone, their impact remained everywhere. The ecosystems they built persisted. Their fossils fertilized the myths of civilizations, and their evolution paved the way for mammals to rise, and for humans, one day to look back in awe. Every fossil we uncover, the skull of T-Rex, the tracks of Iguanodon, the delicate feather imprints of Microraptor, is a page in a story 230 million years long. A story not of monsters, but of survivors. The age of dinosaurs may have ended 66 million years ago, but their legacy never truly fell. It lives in every bird's wings, every reptile's scales, and every scientist's imagination, even now deep beneath our feet. Their bones whisper of the time when life's grandest experiment ruled the earth. For all their majesty, the dinosaurs' rise was not a miracle. It was the logic of evolution itself. They didn't dominate by luck. They adapted better than anyone else. When the Permian extinction cleared the field, the dinosaurs were ready to take the open roles nature offered. Their upright posture allowed endurance. Their efficient lungs let them thrive in thin, oxygen-starved air. And their rapid growth meant they could mature and reproduce quickly. They turned survival into strategy. Each extinction event became an opportunity. Each climatic disaster became a test. And every new environment, from deserts to polar forests, became a laboratory for adaptation. Their success also came from evolutionary diversity. The dinosaur family tree split into countless branches: plant-eaters and meat-eaters, sprinters and swimmers, armored tanks and flying hunters. When one group struggled, others filled the gap. It was evolution's insurance policy, ensuring the dinosaurs' dominance for over 160 million years. Even their downfall tells of their success. It took an event from space, not competition, not disease, not failure, to end their rule. In the grand theater of life, the dinosaurs were not just actors, they were the architects of an age. Their reign reshaped ecosystems, inspired the rise of mammals, and set the blueprint for future evolution. So when we ask why dinosaurs won, the answer is simple. They were the perfect survivors for a world that never stopped changing. The rise of the dinosaurs is not just the story of creatures long gone. It is the story of life itself, its fragility, its persistence, and its endless creativity. They rose from the ashes of the greatest extinction in history. They transformed a barren world into a living empire. And when fire once again consumed the earth, their descendants took to the skies to begin a new chapter. The world we inhabit, with its birdsong, its mammals, its green forests, is built on the bones of that ancient empire. Every era of life is written upon the last, each extinction planting the seeds of what comes next. To study the dinosaurs is to study the resilience of evolution. They remind us that power alone cannot guarantee survival, but adaptability can. They remind us that even in catastrophe, life finds a way forward. And perhaps most profoundly, they remind us that the Earth is not ours alone. We are simply the latest inheritors of a planet shaped by cycles of creation and destruction. A planet once ruled by giants, who rose from ruin to reign over all. The story of the dinosaurs is a monument to the unstoppable force of life, and a warning of how fragile even the mightiest empires can be, as the fossils of ancient giants lie silent beneath the earth. Their legacy still soars above us, in every bird's wings, in every dawn chorus. The age of dinosaurs has ended, but their echo still moves through time, a whisper from the deep past reminding us that nothing on earth truly disappears, only changes, only evolves, and that is the true story of how the dinosaurs became dominant.